Right, in amongst all the melee of this t-shirts, keep getting this recurring question over and over. Dale, can you do a video on how to clean carbs? Dale, can you do a video on how to balance the carbs? Because my bandit, stroke, diversion, whatever, is just running lumpy. Right, let me show you the best thing to do. Welcome back to the Delboy's Garage. Right, almost on a weekly basis, we're getting asked a question by somebody. Dale, can you do a video on how to balance carbs on my bandit, diversion, etc.? Usually 4-cylinder bikes. And the first question I always fire back is, what makes you think you need to balance the carbs? And the answer comes, don't know. I thought I might get it running a bit better. So it just seems to be that what some of you guys are doing is you're buying into a bike, you're going through it like we do, and you're thinking that you can perhaps get it running a bit smoother, maybe basing it on more modern bikes. So let's think about what you're running here. If you've got an early model bandit like this pile, or an early diversion, any of these bikes, think how old that technology is. The bandit, for instance, the engine in the bandit, I'm talking about the original 1157 oil-cooled engine before they went water-cooled and fuel injection, which they are now. That motor was born of the GSXR. The GSXR was first hatched in 1983, way back in the dim and distant, before Penny was born.
Oh, definitely.
And obviously, when you think about that technology, the GSXR 750F for Japan market only was the first one, launched in 84. The designers were sitting down working all that stuff out in 82, 83. That's 30 plus years ago. So it's never really going to be a very smooth running bike. It's old technology. Just think, 5 minutes before that was the GSX 1100, then the GS 850. These are old dinosaurs now. But the same technology applies to your modern bandit. Not today's, but certainly these late 90s ones. Now, all I want to do is show you a simple way before you go getting your nose into your carbs, because honestly guys, trying to balance carbs, you're going to get yourself in a mess. I've tried it several times. It's easy enough to do, but it's time consuming and you can make it worse. You put the balance gauges on, you get it running, you get one a bit higher than the others, you bring it down, another one goes up. You bring that one down, the middle one goes up. It's like trying to chase moles around a lawn. Honestly, it ain't worth the effort, because even if you get it right, it goes out again the next day. Our mate found so, John, didn't he? He spent a day and a half balancing his carbs and it was just as bad the next day. Honestly, forget it. If it's ticking over, a GSXR 1100 or a Bandit 1200, they should be lumpy. They ought to be. Celebrate that. That's what's good about them. They're a big lumpy monster. Enjoy it, folks. But before you go worrying or wondering about your bike, I'm going to give you today a simple method of knowing, and that's what it's all about this. This is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowing that your engine is running okay. That's what it's about. That's why you guys are contacting us and saying, can I balance my carbs? Can you do a video on how to check the carbs, clean them and balance them? 99% of the answers I get back, there's actually no problems with the bike. People just want to do it to see if it is all okay. So I'm going to show you how to do it so you'll know it's okay. It's a surefire method of doing it and it's actually dead easy. It doesn't involve any faffing about. Stick around, I'll show you how it's done. Alright, it starts with taking your plugs out. I'm just going to take out number 4 plug on the Bandit, Oh Doom, and show you what I mean. Alright, so this is what the Bandit's like. First thing you do, now I'm not going to take all 4 out because for the purpose of the video it will take half an hour and I know mine are fine. We're going to take the plug out like that. Here it is, let's put it on the bench. There you go. Right, so here's my spark plug out the Bandit. Now you see it's an old thing, it's been in there a while, NGK JR9B, so that's the correct Bandit plug. Now looking at the condition of that, you've got soot around the outside there and a beige coloured tip. So that's running very slightly rich, but it's running correctly on the tip, which is where it matters. So the first thing you do before you go anywhere else is we want to use the plugs. That's what this is all about, folks. It's about using the spark plugs, the information you can glean from these spark plugs of how the engine is running. So the first thing to do is take all 4 of them out. Take all 4 out and lay them in a row on the bench. And that will tell you by looking at all 4 plugs if they're all the same. Provided they're all the same, then obviously each cylinder is running the same, isn't it? It's not hard. If one of them's extremely different to the others, then I'm afraid you probably have mechanical issues. If you've got one that's wet and oily and the other 3 are dry, then you've got issues with that carburetor, or possibly if it's oil on the end you may even have piston ring issues, but it's not likely. The most likely thing, 99 times out of 100, you'll take your plugs out, you lay them down, and they'll all look more or less the same. Okay, remember it's an old engine, they won't look perfectly bang on. Good enough there if they're roughly the same. Then, before you go any further, once you've ascertained that they're the same, give them a clean. Get yourself one of these, a brass wire brush. It costs a few quid from one of your car accessory stores. Clean the plug right up. Now whatever you do, sorry, shall I rephrase that? Whatever you don't do, don't use one of these. Alright? I've seen guys take one of these wire mops and they lean the spark plug into it to get it all nice and shiny and silver. What you'll do, inside there, down inside, there's a little ceramic casing.
Oh, sorry, a bit close.
Little ceramic casing, and you'll damage it because these wires will get right down in there and they will damage and scratch the tip and cause problems. You don't need to do anything with one of these. That's the wrong way to do it. Use a handheld brass brush and just stroking it like that, and you'll find, like mine, all that just comes off. Now that plug has done 25,000 miles, and this is the first time it's been out in 25,000 miles. Look at that. That's how good they'll be. You can see the state of it because water's got down the side of it and it's rusted the body, but the actual plug tip is fine. Now the next thing to do once you've cleaned all four of them is gap them. Gapping them simply means checking the gap between the electrode and the hood. Now you can use a couple of methods. You can use your good old faithful feeler gauge, checking your manual, get the right size, or my favourite tool is my Blue Point feeler disc. You slip it on the thin end, down there, where are we? Roll it round, there it is, 25 thousandths of an inch. So it's about 26 thou, which is bang on, that's fine. Now this engine, the motor in my Bandit runs beautifully. It is a little bit lumpy on tick over, but remember balancing carbs is about the tick over only. You're only balancing the idle, you're not balancing the flat out revs. So once you've cleaned them and you've gapped them, they're now in good order. Put them back in the bike. So refit all the spark plugs, refit all the leads, and you're good to go. Before you go any further though, clean air filter. Remember, carburetted engines don't have an intelligent ECU like a fuel injected engine that can adjust the metering of the fuel. What those jets stick down the neck of that engine is all it gets. It's a set menu. That's it. So if there's less oxygen around or less air because your air filter is blocked, it's going to run rich. And you'll know that. You take them out, if they're all black, check your air filter. That's a very, very big issue. Especially if you live somewhere like Death Valley in Arizona, because your air filter is going to get dusted up in a day. Just bang it out and clean it. If you live in a damp climate like some parts of the UK here, you'll find that you get like a claggy deposit on it, so you just need to chuck it out or wash it. I always use a K&N. Clean filter, said, done. Clean filter, clean plugs, put it in, now we're ready for the test. So, thing to do is ride it up the road. You've got to take the bike for a ride and get the plugs dirty again. That's what we're trying to do. Once you ride up the road, we're not talking of riding it normally though. This is a very different way to ride it. Find yourself a 10-mile stretch of road, piece of dual carriageway, piece of your nearest motorway, whatever, and get the bike warmed right up to temperature and then nail it up to about 2/3 revs. So if your bike redlines at say 9,000, you want to get it up to about 5,500, 6,000 and hold it there. Now don't break the speed limit, just drop down a gear so it sits at about 7,000 or 8,000 revs, just as high as you can. Give it a good old leathering and get it down that road because you're on the main jet. That's the reason it's important. Once you're up in those revs, your carburetor has a pump in fuel, and that's the best way to make sure you're on the main jet, so you're checking those mixtures as it goes in. When you've done about 10 miles, at least 10 miles or 10 minutes, then shut the motor off. Now I don't mean slow down, pull over and switch off because you've ruined your test. What you must do is at the full revs, while you're up there at 6,500 revs, bang, hit the kill switch. Switch the engine off, pull the clutch in, coast over to the side of the road. Make sure there's somewhere safe to do it. Don't hurt yourself. Don't do it on the M3. It's probably not the best way. Your local freeway is not the place for this test. If you haven't got anywhere like that, then okay, plan where you're going to stop and pull in. But the idea is to not allow the engine to come down through the revs and idle. Because the minute it idles, you're back on the idle circuit, you're using the pilot jets, and they are richer. So you'll soot it up. Where we looked at this just now, that sooty deposit you get, that's from when you get it idling and ticking over. Stop the bike. If you stop it correctly at full revs almost, then you'll find you won't get that soot. You'll take it out, and all that will be happening is the tip will have got some deposit coloration on it. And the colour you're looking for is hearing aid beige, like a biscuit colour, like grandma's underwear. That's the colour you require. Penny hasn't got any of that, have you?
Not yet.
Not yet, a little while yet. This is the point. Once that spark plug soots up or gets that deposit on it, then you'll know that it's running correctly. If it's white, really white on the tip, then it's getting too hot, and that can be dangerous. That can cause engine damage if it's too bad. But you'll know that because it will hunt and it will surge and it will smell funny. If it's really black and sooty, even on the tip, you're running too rich. So you need to deal with that. And there are Dynajet kits you can fit if you've messed around with the exhaust and so on. But really the test, folks, is very, very simple. Clean the plugs first, air filter clean, take it for a ride, buzz it up to a good hard revs for 10 miles or 10 minutes at least at a decent 60 or 70 miles an hour, kill switch off, pull over, clutch in, and then pull a plug out. Now if you've got a Harley, you can do the same thing. It's great for Harley Davidsons. Pull the plugs out and have a look at them. Now if they come out and they're a beige biscuit hearing aid colour, that's it. Your bike's fine. Honestly, stick the plugs back in, go for a pint. Talking of which, fancy a beer?
Yep.
I reckon that's it. Take it easy. I hope that helps you. All of you buying into a new bike or buying a bike that's second hand, thinking you need to go out there and start adjusting everything. Honestly, do this test first. And I will say now, I will have a wager with you. 99 out of 100 of you will find your bikes running absolutely fine. A spark plug tells you so much about your bike. Alright? Hope that helps. Take it easy, ride safe, and we'll see you for next time.